So hi guys, and this is one of my first proper videos. So I got a lot of people asking on Instagram about my D&D character because I do play D&D with a group of friends, and every now and then I post my story, my D&D stuff. So I thought I'd go over my character, and I'm gonna bring up my character sheet in a second and then talk you through it because people are interested about my character and the backstory. So I thought I'd make a bit more of a lengthy video, which is more for YouTube. So yeah, without further ado. Alright, so I tried to make it so that it fits properly on the screen, but yeah, my character's name is Maya. Well, no, sorry, it's Maya. Everyone in the campaign calls her Maya, even though her name is Maya, Maya Himura. Right, this is her. I made a little token of her. So my character, she is a rogue. She's a tiefling, and I'm level 7 right now. I chose to go into assassin um at level, I think it was level 3, and her alignment is chaotic evil, and her background is criminal, and it will make sense when I explain her backstory. Um, so yeah, her hit points right now, I think she's one of the best in our campaign for hit points. Um, yeah. Um, I tend to use pretty much just the short sword or the dagger. I think recently it's been the dagger. I think it doesn't do fire damage, never mind. But yeah, she's quite decent to be very honest. Um, I've got a bunch of stuff in my bag. Yeah, but I'll read these characteristics after I go through her background. Um, yeah. Alright, so there is a trigger warning. There is a lot of stuff to do with suicide and death and abuse and weapons and everything. There's a little bit of gore, I think, so just be wary of that. But yeah, I will read it to you. So I named her, when I name a character, I always put forward into their name. For example, her name is Maya and her surname is Himura. She is Japanese. Um, Maya means strength and Himura means dark. Pretty simple. So I'm going to read you the little passage I made, which is kind of like a story in a sense, like a short story is how I write. Anyways, Maya never came to know her birth parents. Her earliest memory was with her adopted parents studying the plants and wildlife in the forest. She laid on a tattered blanket spread on the forest floor amongst the leaves and the dirt, pencil in one hand as she attempted to draw the plants. She listened to her parents explain the special properties of each plant, how they can be used for right or they can be used for wrong. Some plants and herbs could be used as a sort of medicine, and some could be used for poison. Combining specific ones together could also help with enhancing food flavors. Living in poverty, they adopted her at the age of 2 years old. And then some years later, when Maya was around 14 years old, they adopted 2-year-old twins. And soon after adopting them, Maya's parents were unable to go hunting for food to provide for them all, as her father fell chronically ill. So Maya herself took up the job of providing food for the family and getting some money. She went hunting, and she also went to the markets to steal food as they were obviously poor at that point and couldn't do much. She always headed over to the forest to study the plants. It was kind of her safe place. Sketching out the plants and annotating them with information and their properties. She learned quite a lot from that. With the family knowing lots about wildlife, plants, and their properties, they still couldn't find anything to help her dad's condition. One day, Maya was hunting and came back with a newly found plant. She was so sure that after studying and testing it that it had healing properties. So ecstatic as she was, she took it back home and gave it to her father. And it turns out it was in fact poisonous, and this is where the trigger warnings come in from here onwards. So later that day, her father passed away sadly, and distraught, her mother committed suicide to be with him. Maya and her two siblings were then put up for adoption once again, and Maya was overwhelmed by her guilt. The guilt that she took the life of her own father by giving him a poison plant. They were soon adopted by a rich noble couple. They had a large income and were able to send the younger two to school. When Maya was around 18, Maya was around 18 at this point, so she stayed home and worked as a maid around the house. There was one room that she was always curious about in the house, but the room was always locked. She was given access to all of the other rooms to clean and tidy up, except this one. One afternoon, when Maya was cleaning, she noticed that the door was left open and she could hear low muffles emanating from the room. She edges closer to the room and is shocked by the sight of her siblings caged and tied up, bright red slashes across them and blood dripping from them. Maya stood there in shock, unable to move for a second, when reality came flooding back to her. She lunged forward to try and free them when no one was around. This was her parents doing? Who was she to trust now? Her parents were using them for their own sadistic purposes. That means they never went to school. All she knew was that she wanted to take them and run. She went to try and pick the lock when suddenly she was pulled back and thrown into the wall where she was chained to a chair and cut deeply on her right arm with a knife. She began to scream and beg for mercy as she slowly bled out. Her parents' smiles widened into a grin as they danced the knives closer and closer to the necks of her younger brother. A knife left a faint mark on Marlin's neck before the blade cut into it heavily. Marlin is her younger brother. A pool of blood quickly drooled all over Marlin, and you can see Mara, her sister, too, traumatized to do anything except cry out of fear. Maya had fear and rage in her eyes. She struggled before she was able to collect herself. She used her nails and looked behind her to pick the lock for a few seconds. In those seconds, something must have happened because she turned back around and her father with her little sister Mara disappeared into the dark. Maya was filled with rage and grabbed a couple of daggers. Without thought, she slayed her abusive adopted mother and skinned her like an animal. And ever since, Maya has been searching for her so-called father to slay in the hopes that she would find her little sister, Mara, still alive with him, any sort of hope. But Maya has experienced so much that she isn't afraid of anyone or anything anymore. She's willing to do whatever it takes to get even. So, sorry, my laptop crashed. So obviously for Maya, there was a lot going on. This is her token, by the way. This is what she looks like. You're not able to see, but there is a scar on her token on her arm. Um, yeah, but because okay, let me start back where I was going to. Yeah, I'm starting from the bottom up. I'm dyslexic. Yes, she does actually. I mentioned it in her description. She does have that scar. It's a very big scar from the knife. Um, she went through a lot. She definitely did. Um, but the whole point of her is, um, her adventure is she is on a journey um, basically save her sister. She's hoping that her sister is still alive. She wants to get revenge on her adopted father. Obviously, it was very traumatic, but she's built herself up. She's gone through so much that she's kind of immune to it. Um, and she's kind of switched off humanity because of it, you know? Um, the family knowing a lot about wild plants and their properties and them teaching her and her doing sketches and everything. She does have like a little journal. I don't think I actually put it in her equipment, like her stuff she's holding, carrying with her. But she does actually have like a little brown book with like white pages, blank pages. She's got like sketches of plants in there, in pencil, and she's literally just annotated them, with the names and the properties and everything, which is really cool. But she does, because she learned that growing up, she actually is able to, in the campaign, if she's given the plants or the area like a forest, she's actually able to make healing potions or poisons. And she has poison immunity. The DM put that in, said that because I wasn't originally gonna put it in, like I put in the plant thing, and said she does know her plants and she does know how to make poisons. And the DM said put it into her backstory, and then I'll let you have it in the campaign. And yeah, so that's basically what happened. Um, yeah, I don't have much to say about that part, but yes, that's why actually in her bag she's got like 6 empty potion bottles. That's the whole point of that. So now I can actually go through like her characteristics. Her traits. Well, she's very stubborn. She finds it hard to trust people. She's very asocial and hostile towards people, for her own good reasons. Of everything that's happened, she has reason to be. She first gets stuff done on her own rather than to rely on other people. People are just a liability. You don't know how much you can trust them. They could backstab and betray you, and that's her reason for not wanting other people to do stuff and her get them involved. She can be very blunt and cruel, and she finds that her sadism is actually a good way to help release any emotions, negative wise, that she has. Basically, it's a coping mechanism for her, and obviously, it's not a good one, but it is her coping mechanism. Her ideals, oh my god. So, she believes that the world is basically evil, and that the only way to make it in this world is to let go of humanity. It's just like a switch that she can just like flip. And she just flipped it off. One of the main reasons that she thinks like that is because she feels betrayed by the world. Obviously, she does. Her adopted parents died, right? And then she feels guilty because she supposedly killed her first adoptive father when actually it was an accident. And then obviously her mother died and committed suicide because of it. Then her other adoptive parents killed one of her siblings that she loved so much. And she felt like she was not able to protect them, which is what she feels like she's there for, to protect them. She kills purely to make a living for herself, and that is why she is an assassin. Obviously, she's got the criminal background, which we discussed, which is because she had to steal to survive. That was why she had to do crime, and because she's had to do that in the past, she's on the law's radar. So that's why she is an assassin, and that is how she does make it out. Also, as well, it's a good thing for her aggression and all her rage at the world and everything, and her luck. But yes, she is unable to get a proper job. She has a bond with like one person, which is a gang member that she has. They're the only people she would make sacrifices for because of the so-called like blood promise. The gang that she has is basically like her family. She trains them up, and once she deems them worthy enough and ready, they're initiated via like a blood promise, which is a sacrifice where you get a knife and you cut your arm, the right arm, and you draw some blood out, put it into like a little like vase of blood. Um, and yes, she has a particular bond though with Inara, a gangmate who she sees part of herself in, and was also the first person she recruited. They share a lot of things in common with their past. Um, but so far the DM hasn't put her in yet, which I'm really hoping she doesn't. The DM hasn't really. The DM actually, obviously, she has a bond with her like sister as well, and her siblings. One of them's obviously dead. One of them's possibly alive. The DM actually put it into. I think it was he did like the saving throws as like room tests, like trial rooms. I can't remember which one it was. Which one was it? I can't remember. But he put um everyone in our group, he asked for a particular person that we've got like a bond with. I actually, instead of putting Inara, I put Maya's younger sister, Mara, and he input her into the campaign, which was basically in this one trial, everyone in the campaign basically saw like a glimpse of like or a ghost or whatever of that one person that got a bond with, and it was kind of like a hallucination, I think, in a sense, which was really cool. Definitely wouldn't have wanted anything bad to happen because Maya would just go mad. But yes, She has flaws like everyone. She's never satisfied with what she has. She always wants more. She always craves more. She always needs more. Most of it, she says that she can get through unjust means, and she's always said that sex and violence can basically solve all of your problems. Is initially just basically what she said. Um, yeah, that's sorry. That is what she believes in sense. Yeah. So I think the like one thing I haven't really gone through is her appearance, which would make sense in a minute. I basically modeled her off of like a version of like me that like I would want ideally or something, like, or what I find really cool. So basically, she has pale brown skin and like long dark purple hair, which is waved at the bottom, and I've always wanted that. Could never get it. Her eyes are a deep shade of dark red. Again, a really cool color. She has small fangs. Um, I like vampires and succubi. I just like demonic things. I love them to hell. I love them to bits. I didn't mean to say to hell. She has curved black horns on her head and a 4 foot long black tail along with her wings. The tail and wings and the horns are tiefling stuff, but I loved it so much it reminded me of succubuses. Um, so that's why I made her a tiefling in the first place. Someone told me to go, I think one of my friends in the campaign told me to go for rogue halfling, and I was like, no, no. I wanted to go for a tiefling so bad, and he tried to change my mind because he went for a tiefling, but mine's better. Anyways, yes, and she does actually. She has that deep cut on her right arm. Sorry, from where her adopted parents cut. Um, so yeah, she weighs the average of a normal tiefling. She's my age. She's 21. She's a medium in size, but I think tieflings are quite small in general. She's just a bit smaller than me, to be honest. Um, so yeah. Alright, so yes, that is literally it. That is like my character sheet so far. Of course, this game is still ongoing and I'm only like level 7. We leveled up yesterday, so that was cool. Mm. If you want one of these, check the description below. I'll have the info there if you want to know where it's from. And make sure to use my code. But basically, that is my character. Um, yeah, tell me what you think. I'd love to hear some other people's characters, even just a tiny bit if you can. Let me know what you think about my character. Like I said, it's quite dark. I've written a lot of stuff in my time, like on Wattpad and everything. And I used trauma and what I've gone through as a way to cope with that. And I kind of input very slight things that I felt, and I felt like I had to throw everything at my character to make it look pretty decent. I don't know, but let me know what you think. And if you like the video, make sure you give me some love down there below. Um, yeah, I will see you guys later then. Bye.